The chronic stress you experience in a narcissistic relationship takes a toll not only on your brain, but your body as well. In the world of healing psychological trauma, it's a well known fact that your body keeps a score. The same is demonstrated when you leave that narcissist. Upon leaving them, your body goes through multiple stages of repair. You may not be able to make sense of it. Psychologically, you may feel like you can move on, but somatically, bodily, you may struggle to even move out of your bed, to even brush your teeth. Why does your body go through these stages and what do they mean? Let's find out in today's episode. I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Let's understand what your body goes through when you leave a narcissist. Leaving a narcissist is not just an emotional process, it's a physical process as well. Yes, you have to walk out, but what I'm talking about is your body has to detach itself from all the trauma. It has to heal the pain, the invisible wounds, which takes a lot of time. The first thing that you go through is called cortisol crash. While in that narcissistic relationship, your body is in a state of continuous fight or flight, which means your adrenal glands are forced to release excess cortisol day and night, which then impacts your sleeping cycle, eating cycle, energy level, so on and so forth. You're always walking on eggshells. And that level of hyper alertness needs biological support. Stress hormones are released in excess, which is not something that your body is designed to do. Once you leave that predator, your body experiences a big cortisol crash. What does that mean? Well, your adrenal glands stop producing cortisol. See, you need some cortisol to function optimally. But once that narcissist is gone from your environment, it's like your adrenal glands take a deep breath, which manifests as less production of stress hormones. What does that lead to? A lot of tiredness. Sometimes that comes with hypersomnia, a desire to sleep a lot more than usual. Some survivors in the early stage of the recovery sleep for 10 to 12 hours, which many would say is abnormal. But in this case, it makes sense. A lot of survivors also struggle with rumination and insomnia, but at the same time, they are dead tired. There is a lot of stuck energy trying to move out from their body. The second thing that your body may experience is called a withdrawal effect. It's like you are addicted to a drug, and that drug keeps you stabilized in a very unhealthy way. It gives you high highs and then you experience low lows. That is the cycle that you have become used to. Imagine living in such a turbulent environment for decades, and then one day you are out of it, like it's not happening anymore. That in itself is a big shock for your body. By leaving, you have disrupted the pattern. You have changed your normal, and that can trigger a lot more pain, which is counterintuitive. You may start missing them a lot more. You may start experiencing recurring euphoric recall. What is that? That means you may remember good memories a lot more, and then you may notice yourself whitewashing the bad ones, desiring to go back and try one more time, so on and so forth. You may be hit by a lot of sadness. Sometimes you may want to stalk them, want to know what they're up to. You may be angry at yourself. You may blame the world, blame them, blame basically anything that you may think has caused the issue. This withdrawal effect is a very nasty phenomenon to deal with because it doesn't have any direction. There is no timeline to it. It is complex. It's like you're all over the place. You are moving on a little bit, but at the same time, you are stuck with the memories. You are grieving a living dead person. That is how it feels. And withdrawal manifests at a somatic level through different sensations, like you feel sick all the time. Your digestive system may shut itself down. Your cognition may be foggy. You may not be able to understand what you're reading. You may not be able to communicate properly. You may zone out a lot. You may be disconnected from what is below your neck. You may not have any sensory perception of pain that happens because it's too overwhelming. They were stabilizing you, they were breadcrumbing you. And now that they are out of this equation, there is nothing keeping it suppressed. and all the trauma may start coming to the surface, making it difficult for you to sit with it. What does your brain do? It dissociates you from the experience so that you survive the healing process or you survive this withdrawal effect. The third thing that you may experience is agitatory excitation, being worked up, overstimulated, overwhelmed at the same time. After a long time, you may feel some sense of control because when you were in that narcissistic relationship, there was no control whatsoever. And now that you are free, you have your own space, you might feel a lot of agitation. Basically, that survival stress may start coming out and it may want you to act. It's a transition from a total state of immobilization to mobilization. You were stuck in a nervous system state called dorsal vagal activation, and now you are moving from dorsal vagal to sympathetic activation. From a total lack of movement to a lot of movement. How does that usually manifest as? A desire to keep cleaning. You become obsessed with organizing your environment. You clean a speck of dirt and it irritates you, and you just scratch it, scrub it until it's squeaky clean. Where is that coming from? Well, you are trying to clean yourself of the shame, the disgust that narcissist filled you with. You are trying to establish control. You are trying to organize your life. Why is that? Well, as I said, your life was highly disorganized, and now your nervous system is making a big shift. It is irritating, it keeps you up all night, it consumes you, but it is important for you to experience agitatory excitation. The next stage that you may experience is called functional freeze collapse. It feels like concrete blocks are tied to your hands. Now you have spent a lot of time breaking the trauma bond. You know the narcissist for the person they are. You can see through their actions. And you have organized your life. You have stabilized your environment. But still you are not able to move on. Why is that? Well, your body has spent all its resources trying to establish its territory. It has done everything it could to survive back then. And of course, now it is showing the tiredness that needs to be welcomed, and you need to hold a lot of space for it. During this stage, you may be hit by a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, because you're not just grieving them, you're grieving a lost version of yourself. You're grieving opportunities, you're grieving love, you are grieving time, you are grieving having a family with this person, you're grieving never having experienced a childhood, you are grieving loss of innocence and whatnot. I can go on, the list is too long. So this bereavement, mourning, lasts for a long time, which leads to disenfranchisement of your experience, meaning you may be tired for a long time and people may start telling you, come on, move on, it's been a year or two already and you need to get looking for a job, or you need to find a new partner, or you need to find friends, so on and so forth. But you do not have to do that. You need to understand that your body wants time and you have to give it. You have not been through something ordinary, something that is very simple or easy to get over. You have been through years of torture. You're trying to get over the tiredness that comes from having run thousands of miles continuously. You were stuck in an endless marathon and now you have stopped. Of course, your legs are going to pain. Of course, you are going to feel a lot of discomfort. The more you will force it, the more problems you will face later on. Gentle stimulation is great, like doing something simple every single day, walking at least 10-20 minutes a day, cooking for yourself, just simple, small, repeatable, dependable tasks so that you stay stimulated and nervous system starts coming back online and functions for you. The last stage that your body goes through is called a biochemical reset. Your hormonal system is destroyed by the instability you experience in that narcissistic relationship. Stress hormones are released in excess, while as relaxing and pain relieving hormones are not released in enough quantity. I'm talking about dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin levels. You need to understand that your dopamine channels also change when you are with that narcissist. You settle for breadcrumbs. Naturally, small things they do for you, which may be insignificant for others, give you dopamine hits. That is a big alteration. So your biochemical system starts restoring itself. You start going for bigger things. Those small texts, the hovering attempts, now become insignificant for you because you are able to see through their actions and you do not want to go back at all. Oxytocin is released as you connect with others. Endorphins are pain relieving hormones. So when you express your pain, when you sit with it, when others hear you, when you go to therapy, that's when they are released and you start feeling a lot of relief. The same happens with your serotonin. That is also balanced because the depression causing agent is removed from your life. Naturally, your glands start working properly and things become okay again. So you see, it's a very complex process that is time taking and needs a lot of resources. So what do you need to do? You need to let your body do the work. The best you can do is offer it some supplements, eat good, exercise a little bit, and do actual healing work through grief processing, anger processing, and working on the traumagenic emotions and memories. If you want to learn more about this, check out my healing course bundle that I am running a 75% discount on until 31st December. You can get instant access by clicking the I button above or the link in the description. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.